Well, Newsfirst EU reporter Harsha Navaratna filed this report on the need for a new bridge that connects the Heen Kenda and Galdania villages in Giriulla.
Work commenced on a new bridge after removing the bridge that was constructed across the Kudaoya and which connects the Heen Kenda and Galdania villages in Giriulla. However, construction work has been at a standstill for nearly 6 months. The villagers constructed a makeshift bridge to cross the Kudaoya, but that too is in a dilapidated condition. This has severely inconvenienced the locals who request that a bridge be constructed immediately.
Well, it's time for the newspaper cartoon of the day, which we selected from amongst today's English newspapers.
The police intervened today to remove a teacher from a leading school who staged a protest by climbing onto the roof of a building at the school premises. The teacher staged this protest against a transfer that had been assigned to her.
The teacher who climbed on top of the roof of a building at a prominent school commenced a protest this morning. She demanded that the transfer be cancelled immediately. The police intervened to remove her from the roof of the building this evening. The teacher had filed complaints regarding this with the Public Service Commission and also the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Despite these complaints, the teacher was summoned by the Public Service Commission to the Ministry of Education on the 18th to give evidence in an ongoing investigation that is being carried out by the Public Service Commission. Even though she was called in to give evidence, the principal brought in transfer letters of 4 teachers, including this teacher, on the 17th. Through this, the principal has attempted to influence the testimony that was to be given by this teacher. She had made an appeal against the transfer to the Ministry of Education to no avail. Speaking to Newsfirst, the principal of the school said that he handed over a document with the names of surplus teachers to the Ministry of Education in December last year. He added that the ministry decided to impose the transfers after considering the appeals against the transfers.
The leader of the Tamil National People's Front, Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam, says that his party will not support any independent group or political party at the upcoming provincial council elections. He made this remark at a media briefing in Jaffna today.
Our party opposes the provincial council system. As a party, we will not contest the upcoming polls. Some are of the opinion that we will contest the polls through an independent party. We will not support any independent party. As we oppose the provincial council system, we will not contest the polls.
Well, just a brief recap of the stories we're following here on Newsfirst. President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that there will be no issue in who wins the Northern Provincial Council polls. His Holiness Pope Francis has said that he is considering accepting invitations to visit Sri Lanka and the Philippines. And 4 fishing vessels capsized near the Karukapane estuary in Chilau.
The Ministry of Finance and Planning has declared the Colombo, Hambantota, Trincomalee and Galle ports as free ports via a gazette notice issued in line with Finance Act No. 12 of 2012. The Ministry of Finance and Planning, issuing a communique, noted that the free ports will be covered by the regulations which have been gazetted as Commercial Hub Regulations No. 1 of 2013. According to the ministry, entry port trade involving minor import processing and re-export and offshore business are among those enterprises that will benefit from this decision. Furthermore, the communique notes that the Katanaika Export Processing Zone, the Kogala Export Processing Zone and the Mattala Mahinda Rajapaksa International Airport have been declared bonded areas with the free ports. The ministry notes that the minimum investment of a new enterprise should be $5 million and the companies are expected to achieve an annual re-export turnover of no less than $20 million over a period of 5 years. The ministry also notes that the movement of goods to and from to and good from a free port is subject to the Customs Ordinance and the Import and Export Controls Act. The Ministry of Finance and Planning says that these regulations are expected to bring revolutionary changes to the trade and investment policies of the country.
Another phase of the coin collection campaign organized by Sirasa FM and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in a bid to circulate the coins that have been piled up at various locations took place today in Veyangoda.
The objective of this venture is to save foreign exchange used to print currency. We received better responses day by day. The objective of this initiative by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is to circulate the coins that have been piled up in houses.
The one-year ban handed to National Youth Sprint champion Himanshu Heshan, who was found guilty of using a banned substance, has been reduced to 9 months. Director General of Sri Lanka's anti-doping agency, Dr. Arjuna De Silva, said that this decision was taken considering the athlete's age and good behaviour.
The launching ceremony of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015 was held in New Zealand's Wellington and Australia's Melbourne, with the tournament to be co-hosted down under. The Melbourne Cricket Ground will host the final of the 2015 Cricket World Cup, with New Zealand's Christchurch to kick off the tournament 4 years after being devastated by an earthquake.
The Wellington waterfront in New Zealand was the venue for one of the two launches of the 2015 ICC Cricket World Cup today.
The ICC Cricket World Cup is the greatest prize in international cricket.
The World Cup is returning to Australia and New Zealand after a gap of 23 years, 1992 being the last time the Trans-Tasman neighbours hosted the event, which was won by Imran Khan-led Pakistan. New Zealand's legendary cricketer Sir Richard Hadley welcomed the guests at the launch event, which included the country's Prime Minister John Key, former Pakistan legend Waqar Younis and former New Zealand skipper Stephen Fleming. After a traditional Maori haka welcome, the International Cricket Council President Alan Isaac revealed the teams that form the two groups. One of the key features of the 2015 World Cup schedule is the box office nature of the opening set of matches. While New Zealand take on Sri Lanka in Christchurch in the curtain raiser, Australia play Ashes rivals England at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, while defending champions India meet arch rivals Pakistan in their opening match in Adelaide Oval. The tournament kicks off on the 14th of February 2015 in Christchurch, with the final scheduled at the MCG on the 29th of March. Meanwhile, the Docklands in Melbourne was the venue for the other Cricket World Cup launch event, with Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd in attendance. Former Australian cricket greats Adam Gilchrist, Michael Hussey, Dennis Lillee and some legends from other countries, including India's World Cup winning captain Kapil Dev and former Sri Lanka's World Cup winner Sanath Jayasuriya were also present for the occasion.
Yeah, it's the pinnacle of certainly of short version cricket, and it's, I think, still the most respected global cricket event on the calendar. So it's one that, as a player, you want to be a part of.
I think coming to Australia and New Zealand, it's going to be a big thing for any team, and also as a player, it's representing your country for a World Cup team. It's going to be huge.
Besides the MCG and SCG, the other 5 venues to host World Cup matches in Australia are the Gabba in Brisbane, the Waka in Perth, the Adelaide Oval, the Bellarine Oval in Tasmania and the Manuka Oval in Canberra.
Sri Lanka will take on South Africa in their 5th and final one-day international at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo tomorrow. With the series already won by the home team, Mahalaja Wardana, Lasith Malinga and Rangana Herath have been rested for tomorrow's encounter.
Sri Lankan fast bowler Nuwan Kulasekara misses tomorrow's game owing to injury, while Upul Taranga and Jehan Mubarak have also not been named in the squad. Sri Lanka cricket announced that Dimuth Karunaratne, Vimukti Pereira, Chaturanga De Silva, Suranga Lakmal and Kusal Janik Pereira have been named in the squad.
In a series like this is a very important series, as well as looking at the future. We need to try and groom a few players. If the seniors get injured or something, we need to try and replace them with the groomed players. But I think throwing them into the deep sea, initially itself it's not going to do any good for them. But I think in a series like this, where it's a dead rubber game tomorrow, and the youngsters will be free in their minds rather than putting a lot of pressure on themselves.
We haven't played as well as we wanted to, and we're still representing a very proud nation. So we'd like to really perform to the best of our ability tomorrow, first of all. So there is pressure in that regard. We definitely want to win every game we play. But yes, it allows us to free up maybe a bit, to try a few combinations, try a few shots that we haven't tried before, and just really express ourselves.
Meanwhile, the Indian under-19 cricket team declared their first innings on 393 for 8 on day 2 of their 4-day encounter today against the Sri Lankan under-19 team.
Well, those are visuals of the under-19 cricket match played between India and Sri Lanka at the Vellagadara Stadium in Kurunegala. Before we conclude, here's a look at Action TV.
While teachers who were procedurally appointed to rural schools in the northern, eastern and north central provinces that were directly affected by the war acted in violation of the transfers by not assuming duties considering the risk, there is a group that came to the fore to affirm the child's right to education. About 6 years ago, these volunteers were granted appointments as teachers' assistants in violation of the Sri Lanka Teachers Service Act. As of today, in the North Central Province alone, about 900 of these teachers' assistants carry out a similar task to teachers who have been assigned to the area. Since September last year, this group has been paid a monthly allowance of 6,000 rupees. This is against a backdrop where a resolution was unanimously adopted by the North Central Provincial Council 4 years and 6 months ago to pay these assistants a monthly allowance of 10,000 rupees. However, the biggest problem facing the teachers' assistants in the North Central Province is not how to live off 6,000 rupees a month, but the uncertainty of their futures. As per the appointment letters that were presented 6 years ago, these teachers' assistants have to either complete their training at a teacher's college or through distance learning. Although it was said in writing that these assistants would be recruited as grade 3 first-class teachers of the Sri Lanka Teachers Service upon completion of the training program, a year has now passed since they completed their training. The Wages and Cadre Commission had incidentally prepared a proposal for the North Central Provincial Council on how these teachers' assistants can be recruited to permanent service. The Commission granted approval for the recruitment of 1,075 teachers. The Provincial Ministry of Education used this approval to recruit new graduates. Doesn't this action on the part of provincial authorities show extreme neglect towards a group of people who had made many sacrifices to ensure the basic children's right of education? Governor of the North Central Province, this is over to you.
That wraps up Primetime News here on Newsfirst. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shahjahan Fati. Good night and take care.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.